Good afternoon and welcome to Chats with the Facebook Live series. I am Elisha Dorcas and this is 10 Life Lessons with D. I am super excited. Are you as excited as I am today? Ikena is going to be here to share his 10 life lessons with us. Like, whoop. If you know Ikena, you will. I think it will give you an idea of why the excitement. Because Ikena, I had the opportunity to travel with Ikena once, and the kind of conversations we were having. The guy is loaded, he has wisdom, and he has something to say. And for us on Chat with D, we are here to listen and learn. So this is also another exciting, informative, and life-transforming episode. And we are having this moment, this experience with no other person than Ikenna himself. So if you're just joining, you're welcome to Chat with you once again. I am excited to host you this afternoon. So thank you. So what are your expectations? How has 10 life lessons? How has the experience been for you so far? The last guest we had was Simeon from Mozambique. Simeon shared a lot. He shared a lot, really. But there was one thing, as usual, I always pick one lesson. One thing that stood out, that was very profound for me, was the importance of self-care. He talked about the need for us to take care of ourselves. Sometimes we're so busy in pursuit for things. We want to build our career. We want to grow our business. We want to do this. We want to do this. Then we forget ourselves. We forget the body. And it is very important that we take care of ourselves. He shared that lesson, and I think it is something that we all need to, take home. We need to hold it very close to our hearts, that as we are busy with activities, as we are busy with life, we should also take time out, take care of ourselves, to rest, and just ensure that our body is well taken care of. So today is another interesting conversation, and it is 10 life lessons with D, and our guest today is Ikena. So let's see, let's try and bring Ikena up, like, whoop. So get ready. It's Ikena. Okay, let me look for Ikena. Okay, yeah. So Ikena, please, if you are here, please join. Yeah, I think you can use the green button down to request, then I can add you up. Or you can drop a comment so that we know that you're here. Okay, still on 10 life lessons. I was talking about Simeon. So let me still stay on Simeon's lesson. I think there's also another thing he talked about, the importance of planning. He said it's good to plan, but we also need to be creative with our planning. We need to bring innovativeness into our planning. I think it is a lot of wisdom. We cannot continue to do things the same way, the same pattern, and still expect a different result. We just need to explore new method, new ways of doing things for better result, or for a desirable result that we're interested in. So he talked about the importance of planning. Let me pick one more. Okay, yes. He also talked about the importance of spending quality time with family and friends. Like, yeah, you see, like, that one, I think that one is very, very important, because at the end of it all, like, all of those things we are so passionate about, or we are doing, or we are wanting to build, who are we really building it for? The empire we want to build, who is going to partake of that empire at the end of the day? Is family, is our loved ones. So it is important that we spend time with loved ones. We need to take care of, not just taking care of loved ones, like spend time, let them feel loved, and you also enjoy love too. You cannot be too busy. So in 2023, be intentional about making out time for people that are important to you, starting with your family, your loved ones, your friends. Spend time with them. Let them know that yes, you care about them, you value their relationship, and they are like one of the best things that have ever happened to you. So it is important. Stop. The truth is, gifts are good. Yeah, gifts, they are beautiful, but beyond gifts, sometimes what they really want is just your time. So be intentional about giving them the gift of your time. It is very, very important. I think that is also some of the lessons from Simeon. Like it is like looking at it now, just like this guy is very intentional here. He's intentional about people, he's intentional about family, he's intentional about self. So Ikena, I don't know if you're here, please just let me know. You can drop it on the comment section so that I will know that you're here with me. So apologies that our guest is not yet up on camera. So just let me know. So as you're waiting for Ikena, so we'll just be browsing through some of the amazing lessons from our previous guests. So I've just shared like 3 lessons from Simeon. Yeah, like his lessons. I talked about taking risks. I think another person that also talked about that one was Timi Lenny. That was like our second or third guest. Talked about the importance of just taking risks. And I think for other speakers, they talked about the need for you to take a chance on yourself, like give yourself a chance. I think it is all part of the risk taking. Just put yourself out there and see what life has to offer. Okay, let me go to Zion, because I think I have like very interesting conversation with Zion. Zion was one speaker that I think our conversation was very lengthy. So Zion is the purpose guy. He talked about VIP. That is value, impact, and purpose. If you want to learn more about what that meant, or what Zion meant by VIP, I will encourage you to go and watch Zion's episode. Like, all of our guests are amazing. So you could just start from Kelechi. Kelechi said a lot. Like, Kelechi dished out some powerful nuggets for us. I think one thing that stayed with me from Kelechi's conversation is when he talked about, like, you cannot be doing what they are doing. When he was talking about mentorship, when we're talking about people we so admire in terms of success, he said it is important for us to also learn what they did. We need to understand what process is like for them. So it is not, oh, what are they doing now? They're already in success. They already have results. They're already achieving results. They are building on their results. So you cannot just wake up and say you want to be doing what they are doing to be able to replicate that kind of result. Kelechi also advised that there is a need for us to go back and understand the process. What was it like? What did they do? Like, what they did. That it is important for us to learn what they did to be able to do what they are doing. Hope that makes sense for you. In case you would like to learn more about that, just scroll down, like down. You see Kelechi's conversation. My conversation with Kelechi is down. So I think like now see that I'm just browsing to our guests. I'm browsing through our guests right now. So I think on that person, yes, another person is my friend Temitope. Temitope said something that was very profound. She said you just have to leverage technology. There is so much you can do with technology. And in 2023, Tope encouraged that we see, like, you cannot just be struggling. Like, there are some things you don't need to do. Like, technology, artificial intelligence has made it easier. So you could just leverage that simple fact, leverage that tool. And she said 2023 is the year for us to work smart, not just work hard. And working smart is learning how best to leverage technology in doing most of what we are doing. How can technology make it easier, faster, and simpler? I think that was that. If there is nothing else you take away from that conversation with Temitope, I think you should take this one. It is very, very important. With the age that we are in currently, I think if you say you are not tech savvy, don't be like me. Please come on, go get some tech skills. Learn, be open to learning. It is not as difficult as you think it is. And I bet you when you start exploring tech tools, you'll be amazed at how fun and interesting it is to actually use them to do some of the things you are stuck doing the old way. So let's leverage tech tools. So another guest we had was Isaac. Oh, Isaac's conversation. Isaac also talked about, I think most of our guests mentioned the fact that over time they've come to learn how to say no. Yes, Isaac talked about that, and also Isaac talked about the importance of vulnerability. I think Isaac and Simile also talked about the importance of vulnerability, and they also mentioned, yeah, yes, Isaac said something too. He talked about the need for us to love and cherish people. Like the good person to you, that person you so value and you call good. Somebody might tag that person to be bad. So what is Isaac trying to say? That in everybody, like in every person you meet, there is good in every person, regardless of what you think they are or how they actually behave. There is good, because the person that you think is bad to you today is actually nice to another person. That's the nicest person somebody else's will knows or will describe him to be. So what does that tell you? Just be nice to people, be good to people, learn to love and cherish people, and be intentional about investing into relationship and cultivating relationship in 2023. Currency, relationship is one of the hard currencies we have today, and you could actually spend using relationship. Ikena is here. Hallelujah. You can spend currency before you start making on people's emotional bank, or before you start spending using relationships. It is important that you leverage relationship. Let me round up. Ikenna, what happened?
Thank you. Good to be here with you. Slight issues, but I'm here right now. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear
Fantastic.
you. You're good. You're good. Hey,
Yeah.
Ikenna in the building. So Ikenna, before we start serious talk, wait, help us adjust your camera so that we see
Okay.
your
All
face
right.
completely.
Sorry. Yeah. Is it better now?
Yes, it is. It is. We are good. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We are good. So Ikenna, before we dive into the serious conversation, we just want to learn something. So just tell us one fun fact about it. Something that people don't really know about you. That even you yourself, when you say, people be like, no, it's not possible. So what's that one fun fact about you? Aside the serious Ikenna, tell us something fun
Um.
about you that we don't know.
So this is a very tough question to answer. But one, well, actually, the fun fact. One thing about me, a lot of people don't know is that I'm a very shy person. Yes, I'm very, very shy. And so people always ask me, how do you manage your public life, even though you're shy? And I tell them, so when I'm
Yeah.
actually doing something like I'm doing right now, there's a new me that emerges to fulfill that role. But after this and before this, I'm a very shy, reserved, quiet person. Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that about me.
Wait. No, all this my NWF people, I don't understand. When people come up with all this, you are shy, you are reserved. Hey God, that is that is shocking to me. But it is good to learn that you're a shy person. But it is less. Ikenna is shy. How come? How does that happen? Like how can like
Right?
tell me, how do you want me to equate these versions together? But anyway, it is not fun, but it is a fact, so we just take it. But it is actually not fun. I was waiting for something very, very exciting. But this one is a shocking fact. This one you gave us is a shocking fact because I am still shocked. But we take it since you said it's the fun fact you have for us, no problem. So it's so good to see you.
Thank you. My pleasure, dear. My pleasure. Good to be here.
Yeah. Okay. So before we continue, so you can reshare on your page so that your friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I'm able to do that effectively.
Yeah. There is a reshare button down. There's a button down. You see reshare. I think something like make a post.
Yeah, I've seen it. I just did that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So let's go. So this is a serious, bold, confident Ikena, not the shy one.
Yes, right now.
That is the person we are talking
Exactly.
Exactly. That's the person in front of me right now. So Ikena, so this is 10 life lessons we did. The way it goes is I'm going to give you the floor, then you just share your 10 life lessons. Then we come back and we engage on it. So in between, I can jump depending on how the point takes it to reach.
Okay.
I will express myself.
Please, you can.
I will try as much as possible not to interrupt you to the best of my ability. So over to you. Okay, now.
Okay. Thank you, Dorcas, for this opportunity to be here with you, and thank you for everybody who has tuned in, and for those who will still tune in later, and for those who watch this live video later. Thanks for spending your time and data to be on board this platform. I'd like to say, Dorcas, thank you for these sessions. It's been quite enlightening and inspiring. You know that most times we also learn. You know, like when we had the chat, you said that you are the first beneficiary of these sessions. It means you're also learning as much as you're also ensuring other people are learning.
Yeah.
So that's quite a very fantastic approach to this session. So thank you. So I'll just jump into it because of time. I don't know how many minutes I have, right? So, but I'll just try to do justice to ensure I cover the 10. So even if I don't cover the 10, at least a chunk of it. So for me, my 10 life lessons are quite. I put them into subjects, right? And I also share lessons and experiences from those subjects. So for me, first off is purpose. I'd say identifying my purpose was one of the first life lessons I learned, and it's quite hard to do because growing up, especially in a country like Nigeria, right, in Africa, you grow up into living, you know, and you know there's a popular thing that people say in Nigeria. They say adulthood is a scam, right? So why people say that is because before you say Jack, you're an adult. You don't know how, you don't know where, you don't know why, you know, you come to that place where you're a bit confused about life, right? So growing up in Nigeria and in Abia, you know, and in Aba, that is way back, you know.
We are coming back to that word. I have a question for you. I forgot. Don't worry. Let me write it down so that we don't forget.
Sure.
Okay,
so I was caught up in this web of who am I? What am I meant to do? Why am I meant to do what I'm meant to do? Why am I here actually? What purpose am I? What vision am I supposed to fulfill here? And when we started asking those questions, maybe it will be when we are about to write our JAM and we're supposed to fill in courses in school, or maybe if you went to a school that had sciences and arts, right? When you have been asked, are you going to do science? Or are you going to do arts? I think that period, you know, for a lot of young people are the times when we start asking ourselves, am I really supposed to do sciences or arts? And for the kind of school I went to, we are pushed into science if you are smart, and you are pushed into arts if you are not smart, you know. And it wasn't a question of what you want to do. It's a question of, oh, your grades are not too good, you have to do arts, you know. And so the impression that I had was that people who are the smart kids are the guys who go into science classes. And so, of course, I was one of the brightest in school, so I was automatically moved into the sciences. They didn't let us know that that you know, in the arts that there are also professional courses like law, like like accounting, which are also for very smart people. And so this moment in life, and you know, after that sciences too, when I was supposed to fill my JAM form as a young, you know, chap, I started asking myself, what course am I even meant to do? And if you don't have parents or mentors or people who guide you, even when you have people who guide you, most times they also push into confusion, more confusion than you already have. And so those times are when young people start asking the question, what am I meant to do? What courses am I meant to study and all that? And so for me, those periods are are times when I started asking myself those questions, and I said to myself, you know what? Identifying purpose is one of my top life lessons. Number one for me, you need to know exactly why you are here, right? Why am I here? What vacuum am I supposed to fill? What solution am I supposed to profile? What problem am I supposed to solve? And so asking these questions and answering them will actually reveal to you why you are here. There's a saying that says a square peg in a round hole in a square peg, right? You can be fit, you can be the best that God has made, but if you are in the wrong hole, you won't fulfill purpose, you won't live life to the full. So for me, and it doesn't really matter the age where you are right now, maybe 30, maybe 40, right? Maybe even 50. It's never too late to sit down, have this introspection and retrospection, and think about what space you are meant to play in, what vacuum you are meant to fill, what role and what purpose that you're meant to achieve in life. And so for me, number one, top priority anywhere, any day, anytime, identifying purpose, identifying your why is my major lesson. It will make you struggle less. It will make you dissipate less energy. It will make you not waste time, to reserve time, right? It will make you put in energy, focus, money, resources where there's need for it. Imagine going to having a first degree in mass communications, for instance, and you later discover that your purpose is in international developments or is in banking, right? You are probably good with accounts. Then for some of us who have grown and who identify this late, you see that we end up doing a second degree to align with what we now have understood our purpose is, or we now start trying to apply for a PhD and masters to have an extra certification in that area where we want to fulfill purpose. Now, I wouldn't say it's time wasted, but if you look at it, comparatively, you see that of course you've also dissipated time, energy, resources in an area where you're not supposed to have done that. So identifying your why on time, or even now, makes you reserve energy, focus your attention on what where there's need for it, and pushing your resources to where deserve it more than every other area. Yeah. So number two for me is goals, right? So when I've identified this purpose, or when I've started living my why, you have to really set your goals. And for this goal setting area, it's the beginning of a new year, and so I'll dwell on this just a bit. So for some people, having identified, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to play in the health sector, I'm supposed to work in the legal space. I don't like the fact that a lot of young people are incarcerated without trials, or I want to become a lawyer to play in that area. The next question is, what are your goals? So even if I've decided to play in the legal space, the legal space is also quite broad, right? What are the things I want to achieve in this space? Do I want to work to reduce the number of people who are illegally detained? Do I want to work to end police brutality in all forms? Do I want to work to raise a chamber, or to raise an NGO where people who are underserved can get access to legal aid without having a lot of resources? So what exactly do I want to do in this my defined purpose right now? So that's where goal setting comes in. So and this is a conversation for a new month always, because right now people are trying to set their goals, trying to ensure that their goals are tailored to what they need to do. So for me, after purpose, then set your goals. What do you want to achieve in that area you want to achieve? And for a lot of us, we know about long-term goals and short-term goals. We also know about the SMART goal framework, where we talk about being specific, being measurable, being attainable, being realistic, and being time-bound. So that's cliche. And I'd just like to add an ER, and because for everywhere I have sessions this January, and for the past 1 year and going forward, I'd like to introduce the smarter goal framework. So the SMART goal framework is clear. Okay. Everybody knows what SMART goal framework is, but for me, I add an E and an R, right? So after I put down my my SMART goal framework, I introduce an E, and that E for me is evaluation. So when I set in these SMART goals, right, do I actually evaluate the things I do? Do I find out the things that are more productive than the others? Do I find out where I need my attention more than the others, right? When I was in school, when I was in secondary school, I discovered that I was doing not too well in chemistry. And for me to study medicine, I actually need to up my game in chemistry. I discovered that was my flaw. So what did I do? I reduced my study time and put more time in studying chemistry. So then we were using chemistry. I really don't know about now. So what I did was I said to myself, I'm going to study biochemistry back to back, cover for cover. So I put in more time to study biochemistry, right? So that was me identifying my goals and saying, okay, I know that I've identified my goals. I'm going to do sciences. I want to study medicine, even though I didn't end up studying that. That's a conversation for another day. And right now, I'm not doing so well in chemistry, but I need to evaluate why. I'm maybe not giving enough time to this course. Maybe this course is quite tougher than others. I need to increase my study time for this. So that was me evaluating exactly what I needed to do for time. And so for me, monitoring and evaluation is quite key. So when people say M&E, they think it's just on a project basis, or if you work in an NGO. No, for everyday life, everything, you need to evaluate. Even your sleep time. How many hours am I sleeping every day? Is this sleep time making me productive? So you need to evaluate everything. So for me, after you do your SMART goals framework, having an evaluation framework is key. Then for the R, I call it reward, right? So when you've achieved your goal, what happens next? Reward yourself, no matter how small those rewards are. Those rewards are the stepping stones, not stepping stones actually, are the force, are the inspiration you need to produce more results.
Motivation.
Right? Exactly. They're the inspiration you need. So when for instance, there's this joke that people used to joke about some years ago, that there's a wealthy man who told his kids, I'm not going to give you a car, but if you graduate with a second class upper or a first class, I'll give you a brand new Benz, right? Most times, why the kid studies is not just to make good grades. It's because there's a prize, there's a reward, and the reward is I'm going to drive a brand new car immediately I graduate. Some wealthy parents will tell their kids, immediately you graduate with a good grade, I'll make you the MD of these my companies. So you see this kid or this child studying so hard, not because he likes to study, but because there's a reward, waiting for him. And so most of the time I induce success. And for me, inducing success is putting a reward before me. If I achieve XYZ in 3 months, I'll buy myself a watch, or I'll take a day off, or I'll go for a vacation, or whatever is exciting to you. Always add a reward. That reward factor will always make you work harder than normal because you are seeing something in front. And I like to quote the scriptures because I'm a Christian. So pardon me if you're not a Christian, right? So the Bible says, about Jesus. He said, "For the reward that was set before him, he endured the cross, despised the shame." So because of that, being the son of being exalted above everything, Jesus, in fact, at some point he said, "God, if you will, let this cup pass over me." It means he was tired, but for the reward, he had to keep pushing. So for me, having that reward system is key. I'll run because I talk for a living. So, and so for me, that's about having the smarter goal framework. And then I'll just say this in hurry, and I'll move to the next one. So for me, I talked about long-term and short-term framework, and I tell people a lot, you can't have a short-term goal alone. For me, short-term goals don't exist, right? And so I'll say this in passing, that before you have a short-term goal, you must have to have a long-term goal. So when people say, I make a 1-year plan, I'm like, no, a 1-year plan is not sufficient for you. You really probably need to make the least a 5-year plan, right? And now make your 1-year plans for 5 years. So reason why I said this is this. Yes, reason why I said this is this. When people say, I want to save, in 2023, I want to save 1 million naira. And I ask them, for what? And they're like, why are you asking me for what? I just want to have 1 million naira. I'm like, what do you want to do with 1 million naira? So you see that a lot of people have this short-term goals. I want to save money. I want to eat healthy. I want to, for what? So your long-term goal will now say, in the next 5 years, I want to start a tech hub, or I want to travel for my master's in the UK, or I want to do X by X year. And so you now break it down. What are the things I need to start doing now to achieve this long-term goal? Those are the short-term goals. But short-term goals on their own do not carry any water because these are milestones. For me, I call short-term goals milestones. So you are only setting milestones, right, to achieving the big picture. So most of the advice on people, please have a big picture. If your big picture is for us now, we are in our early 30s or mid 30s. Our parents are giving us go and marry, go and marry. So for us, our next 3 years plan might be to settle down, right? So what are the things I'm supposed to do now? So in my planning this year, I'm not saying, you know what, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. Maybe I need to scale by the end of the year to a 2-bedroom apartment because I'm going to expect a partner soon. I don't have a car. Maybe I should save up money to have a car because I'm expecting one. So my short-term plans are aligning to the big picture that I'm seeing. And that's why I'm saving money. That's why I'm doing X, Y, Z. So it's in plan with your soon. So for some of them to you, ask them, they say, I want to get a master's this year. Why do you want to get a master's? Right? If you want to get a master's to work in the UN, it will even define the kind of masters you are actually looking for. So your long-term plans define what your short-term plans and goals should be. So I'll jump. Number three for me is strategy, right? So after you have your purpose, set your goals, how do you do this, right? How do you achieve these goals? How do you execute your purpose? And for me, I think this is key. I wouldn't like to waste a lot of time on this because our time is fast spent already. But strategize, think, plan, research, study. I heard you talk about someone, past speakers talking about mentorship or so. Ask people questions. People who have gone ahead of you in this path. That's what mentors are. Mentors are probably one of the things I would say if we have the time. So ask questions, get guidance. It's always better to learn from someone who has gone the path you want to go to, so you don't waste time making the same mistakes the person made. My father will always tell me, "You are not permitted to make the same mistakes I made. If you need to make mistakes, you need to make new mistakes. If you need to fail, you need to have new failures, because you need to actually learn from the things I've done, right?" And the more people you learn from, someone told me about. I have this personal development too, but I'll just say this now. When I had this discussion with someone about studying, and I told him the implication of what studying means. I'm like, if you read 10 books in 2023, what it means is that you've gone through the life of 10 people in a certain area. You've learned their mistakes, you've learned their successes, you've learned the things that they did that worked, you've learned the things that they did that did not work. If you attend 10 events and listen to 5 speakers each, it means you have a deep dive into the life of 50 people. And this can guide you to make effective decisions. So strategy is key. Learn the things that are working, learn the things that are not working. Don't go with the bandwagon. Think about what things I need to do precisely to ensure that my vision, my goal, and my purpose actually comes to life. So for me, number 4 is focus, precision, right? Now that you've known what to do exactly, strategy lets you know the how, right? Now that you know the how am I going to do this? I want to buy a car, right? And I don't have all the money. And strategy lets me know, can I go to, and I know I don't have a very good savings culture. So strategy lets me know, can I open a piggy-based account where I can lock my funds and I'll never get to it again? That's strategy. Strategy lets me know, okay, if the purpose is car, can I go to a car shop and let them know, please, can I pay in installments and only give me this car when I'm done with installments? And I do that a lot. So I probably go pay the first installment of 500,000 naira. My money is stuck there. No going back. I can't go back again. I only have to move forward. So that's strategy. So how much can I pay every month, right? The car owner even likes it because, you're even giving me your money ahead of time. That means I can even do business with your money while you are looking for the rest. It's a win-win. So what are the strategies are you going to employ? And now how are you going to be focused to ensure that these strategies are executed? So focus is key. Precision. Knowing exactly what you want and going for it, and knowing what you do not want as well. Ever since we got back from the fellowship, I've gotten job offers, and one came and it was so juicy, and I told myself, you know what, I really don't want this one, because if I get involved in this, I'll tie myself down. There's a plan I have. There's a bigger picture I'm working on. Getting this right now might limit that big picture. So I said no, even though it appeared juicy. So if you know exactly what you want and also know exactly what you do not want, ensure that you have laser focus and precision in exactly what you want to achieve, right? It doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means that this is this, right? And I also bring the relationship talk a bit here. And you know that most times when we, as young people, we can see people that we like, and you just want to be close to doctors. I want to be close to doctors. I just like doctors all the time. There's no need also wasting people's time. So if I know I cannot be with doctors, or if I know maybe doctors is from Ghana and I can't be with the Ghanaian, why not abort mission on time? It saves you time, saves you stress, saves everybody the energy, and all that. So that's what focus does. And focus makes you achieve your goals in a timely manner, because you are short. How do they say that? They call it, I can't remember the exact word, but it's like you are short, your mind is short and your eyes are short to other things aside the things that you want to see. That's what focus does for you. Then the next one is stakeholder mapping. Right? Stakeholder mapping for me is, who do you need and how do you get access to them? Sorry, can I buy 1 minute? Let me something. 1 second, actually.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
No problem. You can.
Thank you.
Saturday Facebook Live. And my guest today is Ikenna. He has been sharing a lot, dishing wisdom back to back, back to back. So I will just do a quick run through what he has shared so far, and as we wait for him to join us.
Okay,
He
yeah.
talked about purpose, he talked about goal setting, he talked about strategy, and now we are on the fifth point, which is stakeholders mapping. Who do you need, and how do you gain access to them? Let's learn. Over to you.
Exactly. Okay, sorry. I had a knock on my door, so I had to check who that was. Sorry about that. So
Okay,
yeah,
no
for
problem.
stakeholder mapping,
No problem.
who do you need? Right? We all need people. And if, like I said, after all this I've shared, who do you need? Um, and let me skip it for stakeholder. So just identify who do you need. You want to do your masters abroad, right? It's part of your goal. You've strategized. You are focused on it. You are applying for grants. You are applying for scholarships. Who do you need? You need people who have gone for their masters abroad before. Have you identified people who have gone for their masters abroad? Have you identified people who work in organizations who fund scholarships? Have you identified people who have done that course you want to do? Right? Have you identified even accountability partners? They're also stakeholders. People who will push you to please don't sleep. Wake up by 6. You have 2 more applications to go. Have you identified people like that? So having your stakeholders set are quite important to you. Even the school you want to apply to are stakeholders. Have you studied their websites? Have you understood what their offers are? Have you understood who they are looking for? Because everybody also has who they're also looking for. So you need to identify when you map your stakeholders, write exactly who you need to achieve those goals in life, right? At this level where you are right now, who do you need to achieve what you want to achieve, right? So you need to identify. Most times you think you know them. It will shock you that you really don't know who you need. So, but if you think about it and plan it, you identify there are people who you need that you didn't even realize that you actually needed these people, right? And then you now have to strategize. How do I have access to them? There are people I need in life that I can't reach them. They are so big, right? So what did I do? Some of them I started following them online, right? And I like all their posts. I comment on all their posts. It's easy to get noticed, my guys. Very easy. So if I comment on all of Dorcas's posts, I like all her posts, I leave reviews on all her sessions, without knowing Dorcas personally, and without Dorcas knowing me personally. But automatically there will be this automatic bond. Dorcas will just be like, who's this guy? Exactly. And so, but some people do it in a very crazy way, but that is also good. It gives you automatic attention, even though some people might not like that. But imagine going to someone's, probably you follow Fela Dutoye, for instance, or you follow DDK, for instance, and you go to DDK's Instagram profile now, and start from 2021 and start liking all her posts, all her posts. Once the notification comes on her Instagram, she'll see Ikena likes Ikena. You're like, who is Ikena? What do you want from me? Right?
Who is this person?
Exactly. So there is automatic attention. She knows your name automatically, right?
Yeah.
But the best way to do that too is also to engage not just at once, because some people feel you're stalking me, right?
Let me share a story still on DDK. So there was somebody that wanted to get her attention. The person was following her back to back, was liking her, making comments on her post. Then the person took it to another level. So now DDK was having multiple meetings the same day in Lagos. You know, she was moving from here to another for speaking again. Do you know this lady attended all the meetings? Like, she was there.
All of them.
To the point that she noticed, I'm like, no, you've been following me. You are everywhere. Everywhere I turn, I see you. What do you want?
Exactly.
Like, today they are very good friends. But like, she was able to attract that attention. You know, intentionality with networking. You cannot just be nonchalant about your networking skills. If you want something, you go for it, and you go for it like you go for it fully, not partially, not one leg in and one leg out. You do the work, and the reward comes, just the way Ikena mentioned.
Exactly.
You give yourself reward. and the reward comes. So please continue. I just felt I should share that one.
Thank you. Fantastic. Especially when you are trying to get the attention of high performing individuals. You know that there are not people you can just call on the phone. Even if you have their number, there are not people you can just call on the phone. Even if you call them on the phone, you probably might not have access. You know, so sometimes you need something that to open that door for you because you need them in the next level of life you want to get involved in. Maybe you are trying to get into management consulting and you think DDK is the perfect match for you. She inspires me personally, right? Because sometimes I wonder how she's able to combine her Christian values with her work and her NGO and everything just goes smoothly, right? And so if you need to meet people like that, how do you get them? These stakeholders, how do you get them to mentor you? How do you get them to help you get to the next level? These are things that you need to do around stakeholder. So you need to map exactly who you need and then find a way to get access to them. And getting access to them too is also thinking about what values can I bring to the table? What values can I give to them? How can I be of help to them? What are the things that they are lacking that I can also prefer, right? That's how to. So I really needed to meet someone for something I really wanted to do by June. And I discovered the person does not have a strong social media presence. Big guy, great guy, doing amazing stuff, but he doesn't have social media presence. And I just sent him a text and said, you know what, good day, Sarah. I've been following you for a while. I like what you do, X, Y, Z, and all that. I've also noticed that you don't have a strong social media presence. Maybe it's not your thing. Maybe you're too busy to do that. I'm volunteering to also help you around social media optimization. I can handle your social media pages. And he sent me a reply. I'm interested in that. And not just that, I sent a text. He replied me and he called me on the phone. And so that's also how to act. Yeah. So all those stakeholders that you're also looking for, how do you access them? How do you reach them? How do they see you not to be a burden? How do you call them when they pick your call in one ring? Because they know that there's also a value that you're bringing to the table, right? So that's how I want to see this. And so stakeholders are important. I'll talk about stakeholders a bit more when I talk about mentors, but that's all for now. So number 6 for me is network, right? So network is key. We've said that. Everybody has said there's nobody that will come to any session in life somehow they'll talk about network. And the cliche saying is your network is your net worth. There's something I started doing since last year. I started taking my team on. I call it going back to the cliches. And so when the first time I introduced that, they asked me, "What do you mean by that?" I said to them, "Do you know there are lots of cliches that because we even tag them cliches, they now sound ordinary and normal. They no longer hold water. They are no longer effective in our lives. But guess what? If you go back to the cliches, right, you will live a very fantastic, successful life." And I asked them a question. When did you start hearing a stitch in time saves 9? They said, since when they were in primary school. So when last did you see a stitch in your clothes? You wore a t-shirt, your button, you saw that one rope was out and you didn't touch it. And you now went out with it until you now went to an event and the button now fell. You said, this button has fallen, my blessing will have come more. But you saw when a stitch was off, right? So how many times have you failed this process of a stitch in time saves 9? Have you stitched that your pocket that was tearing? Have you closed that your account that people were trying to hack? How have you followed this process? So, most times people say your network is your network. We've had this a 1,000 times, right? But have you really taken your network seriously? Or do you believe that what they're saying, that it's wrong? So if you believe that it's not wrong, I think it's high time for me. One of my top life lessons is also network, the power of network. I think for me, for everything I've actually achieved in life, for most of them came through referrals. So people saying, "Oh, you know what? I think Ikena can do this. You know what? I think Ikena is fit for this," because I consciously build the right network. And in my base in Abia, they will tell me, you know a lot of people. You know a lot of people. Your network, and I laugh. It didn't used to be so. Like I told you, remember from this one, I told you I'm a very shy person. And so one day, I always tell the story, somehow. So one day I grew up to discover that I was a stutterer, like I stammer. And my own stammer wasn't light. My own stammer, those ones with the knack hand for leg. So I'll hit my hand on my leg before I can say good morning. It was that bad. I barely spoke. And that's what actually made me very reserved and shy. And so growing up, if I tell you stories, you will run. It was a very interesting growth period for me. I suffered a lot of depression, because I felt I could not fit into society. I couldn't talk well. It wasn't of any fault of mine. I remember a few times when I'll be called in school. This attendance roll call that they call, and they'll call my name, Ikenna. And I'll be struggling to say present sir or present man. And I would say it. And next thing, oh, you are here. You're not paying attention. And I'll be flogged just because I could not talk well, not because I wasn't paying attention.
Wow.
So several times I've had, there are times when I'll be asked questions in school, even though I know them, but the stress of not answering them and standing up and down, my classmates will laugh. I better not even talk. And so most times the teacher will feel, this I just said now, you can't say it, and they'll flog me. And I'll be like, no problem. It's not my fault, but I take the blame, right? And so, but growing up, I discovered that self-pity will not help me. Being depressed will not help me. Blaming God who made me stutter will not help me. I needed to talk. I needed to network. I needed to increase my network by networking. So one day I told myself, you know what, enough is enough. Every day I stood in front of a mirror and I pretended as if I was talking to thousands of people. So sometimes I laughed at myself. Sometimes I said, "Mo, you're stupid. This is very stupid." But I just had to learn how to talk, right? So I did that over the years, and I improved. And I had to. That's also when you hear about the word strategy, like I mentioned, my number 3 life lessons. So after a while, I thought myself, you know what? I need to hear myself talk. So I had to use my phone to record these sessions. I'll stand in front of a mirror and I'll prepare a topic and I'll just talk. So, but I'll be recording it. After recording it, I will sit down and play the video. Sometimes I laugh at myself, like, this guy, you sound very weird, But what did that do to me? I started understanding the areas where I was stuttering. I started understanding the words that made me stutter and the letters that made me stutter. And I said, okay, I have seen that over these 10 sessions I've done. Saying the word W or saying what makes me stutter. And I started looking for S and T makes me stutter. Like I'm just about to stutter right now. So I started looking for alternate words to fill in those gaps. I started looking for alternate space fillers. I started saying more. So instead of me to stutter, I'll be like, I'll say something. So I grew in that space until I discovered how to talk at least a little bit. And I had to put myself in the public space. Strategy, what else did I do? I couldn't just come to a bank and start talking to people. I couldn't just come to a networking session and just start to. I said to myself, you know what? Let me gather a couple of kids in my house and talk to them, right? So I spoke to a couple of friends who live in the same apartment building, like I did some years ago. And I told them, you know what? I want to talk to your kids. Can you release them for me? They said, without pleasure. So they released these kids for me, and I started talking to them, the things I've learned, how to talk and all that. I also read a couple of books, I think I read Larry King's book, on how to talk as well, how to be a public speaker. And guess what? In 2-3 weeks, these friends came back to me. I'm like, ever since you started talking to my kids, they've started doing this, they've started doing this. I could see progress. I'm like, oh, listen, they walk, right? So I was like, so this work like this. So that result gave me the ginger I needed to say, you know what? Right now, I'm going to do more. I'm going to start talking publicly. I'm going to start, if I see, if I'm amongst my friends and there's conversation, I'm going to make my inputs. And guess what? When I make those inputs to them, they are like, I think you made the point. I'm like, wow. So that's how I actually started talking. So I share this story to let you know that it's not because I have all the poetic ability to talk. No, I just discovered that if I have to grow my net worth, it means I have to grow my network. And if I have to grow my network, I have to learn how to talk. So my top life lesson as well is please network. Network as much as you can. You were with us. We traveled together for the fellowship, and you know that the core of Mandela Student Fellowship for us was network. The fixed sessions for network. Just go and talk, right? Because they know that the next person you meet,
go and sell yourself and connect.
But the next person you meet might be the ladder you need for the next level you want to get to. So that's why I feel that network is very, very important. All right, number 7 for me is partnerships and collaboration. So when you meet these people, when you network, when you see people of like minds, like values, what next do you do? I think one of the challenges that young people have is, especially in the Southeast where I come from, is not being able to partner and collaborate. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I told them, you know what? When we learned business studies in school, they taught us about sole proprietorship and partnerships, But they told us that sole proprietorship is the best form of entrepreneurship. And that is not true, right? So I told them, that even in partnership, they told us the benefit of partnership is that you bear the profit together and you bear the losses together. Guess what? As young people, we talked about the profit. No, we want to bear the profit alone, But you also forget that when there are losses, you also bear them alone. And most times, those losses can overwhelm you and bring it down. So the core for me is partnership and collaboration is one core factor I've learned in life. It's a proper life lesson. If you read books a lot widely, if you read about entrepreneurs across the globe, you'll find out that many entrepreneurs across the globe who are successful started out as partners. When we learned about Mark Zuckerberg, when he started Facebook, what we learned was that he went to his roommates, to his schoolmates, and told them, you know what, I have this idea. Come, let's work together. Then most of them never started. So, and I read a book about entrepreneurship in the US, and the formula for them is when you identify an idea, number one, the next thing is find a co-founder. Immediately the idea, before you even start implementing, find a co-founder. The co-founder comes in and helps you and works with you to actually flesh out these ideas, right? But for us here, most times we want to do it alone. We want to answer CEO, MD, founder, blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the day, you are a founder to a 100,000 naira company. When you can be a co-founder to a 1 million naira company, right? So for me, I think it's key. Even the Bible says, one shall chase 1,000 and two shall chase 10,000. And I was having a conversation with my friend one day, and I told him, even if you are not the main person in this new venture, the Bible says two shall chase 10,000. It means that even if it's 90-10, which is almost not possible, you are still back to your 1,000. But you now have a partner. Yeah. So if it's 50-50 that you're sharing profits with, it's 50,000, is 50-50. It's 5,000, 5,000. It's better than your 1,000. If it's 80-20, it's still better than your 1,000, right? So most times, don't think about all those excesses. Just think about the great partnerships and the right collaborations and how you can benefit the more from those partnerships. It's easier to work like that. My mentor will always tell me, even if you have 1 million to invest in a company, and you see another friend who has 1 million to invest in a company, together you people have 2 million naira. Your company can grow faster and grow bigger than only you trying to build a company with 1 million naira. So that's how I think that partnerships and collaborations are key. Most times, even beyond money, it's also about skill. It's also about expertise. So if you want to run a tech company right now, and you have the resources to run a tech company, you know that tech is new oil, but you don't have the tech skills. What do you need to do? Find a co-founder, a partner who has a tech skill. Oh, guy, you are good with this. Can we come together and start this? That's how things roll. You are bringing this, and you are bringing administration. You are bringing the resources. He's bringing his tech skills and his expertise, and together you guys are building something way beautiful. But you also have to be very careful in partnerships. Make sure that your documents are intact. Make sure that your agreements are intact. Make sure that your T&Cs are intact. Like, know what the boundaries are, know what the terms are, so you don't get also into partnerships because there are also partnerships that fail. So you're sure that you get into partnerships that work. So one swindler does not come and swindle all your life's resources, your life savings, and get into the thin air. All right. So the number 8 for me, I think I'm on time. Number 8 for me is personal development. You need to always keep learning. Right? Learning is a call. You always need to keep learning. You always need to keep developing. You always need to keep growing. It's important. And you can never know it all. You can never get it all. But so it means that every step of the way, there's much more that you can learn. A friend of mine once told me that if I wait for the perfect time, that I will never get anything started. Right? It does not mean you should start anything haphazardly. It means that you should just do the best you can per time to ensure that you launch your product or do whatever you want to do. But you need to always keep improving. I remember a few years ago when we started using WhatsApp, there was no WhatsApp stories. Right now, WhatsApp stories is a strong feature. And I started asking myself, what would have happened? Like, how was life then without WhatsApp stories? Like, how? So because, like, most times if I come on live on WhatsApp, all I do is to view stories and I go. Sometimes you just laugh and all your sorrows disappear because people just post funny things on the story. So people market their business on the story. So, like, how was life before then? So every product has been innovating. Right now, there's Facebook Live that we're doing. When we started, I'm not sure there was Facebook Live. I remember the first day I saw the reactions. I'm like, these guys are thinking. Before it was just like, if you remember, Facebook logo then was after the F, you see the thumbs up, the blue thumbs up. So before we were just like and comment. Now there's love, there's care, there's hug, there's cry, there's sad, there's hyper. There's a lot right now. So people are always improving on what they have. So please, it's important, especially for young people, because we are in a very fast-changing world. Technology is changing very fastly. This is the knowledge economy actually. Things are going very fast. Improvement, innovation is quick. So if you need to catch up and remain relevant, you need to always improve yourself. Personal development is key, and it's my life lesson. Like, I always want to study, I always want to grow. Even though this year, I think in first week of January, I spoke to a friend of mine who doubles as one of my mentors as well in personal development. And I told him, Prof, do you have any books for us to read this year? He said, make more money, let's read it. That cracks me up. But beyond that, also grow your grow in your personal development. That's quite important. Then number 9, mentorship. Right? I've talked about mentorship for a while. But mentorship is key, vital. For me, I think it's one of the most important, because even your mentor can help you through this number 1 to 8. You need to find out who you can work with. It's important. I can't overemphasize on mentorship. Everybody has always talked about mentorship, but I also can't overemphasize on mentorship. It's important you find a mentor, right? Who will help you, who will guide you, who will direct you, who will lead you, who will speak for you. There's so much a mentor can do. I remember the first time I actually had an encounter with the governor of my state. I spoke to my mentor around the things I wanted to do. And as I was talking, she was just listening and looking at me. And, after a while, she picked up her phone and she called the governor. I'm like, hey, good day, sir, blah, blah, blah. You know what? There's this mentee of mine. He's a fantastic young man. I want to send him to you. He has this fantastic idea that I think you should hear. And that was it. I didn't tell him, please call him for me. It just happened. Right? So mentorship is, people always say that mentorship is someone who has gone the path, taking you through the path. He has seen where if you're driving in Nigeria right now, and if you're familiar with a road, you know where the potholes are. So even if you close your eyes, sometimes you know that at this point you need to go right. That's what mentorship is. So they have done this road that you want to go to. They have done their masters, right? Like, I have people I'm mentoring for the Mandela Washington Fellowship 223, and I know that they'll get in. Most of them have actually gotten through the interview stage right now. And now, because I've gone, I'm a fellow. I'm telling them, you know what? These are things you need to focus on. X, Y, Z. Now, they're going there not as a JJC. They're going there living my experience of the fellowship. They actually know where I failed. One of them, I told them, you know what? This 6 weeks might look so big. But before you can say Jack, they are letting you know, oh, this is the last week. And you're like, how did I get here? It's 5 weeks already, right? So it's easier because right now they are going through, they have lived my own journey, in their minds because of our conversation. So when they go to the US, it will look new to them that way. They already know what to expect. They already know what to do. That's what mentorship actually does for you. Now, I've learned, if I knew. Have you ever had a fight? Let me say this right now. It might sound very funny. But have you ever had a verbal fight with someone? And after the fight, you go home and you're saying, hi, I would have said this, so hi, I would have said this, so or you have a networking session with someone and you not get home and like, I didn't think I would have said this, so I would have said this, so
I should have mentioned this. Leave networking session. I think the best one is interviews. When you go for interviews and you're like, oh, I should have mentioned this. I should have emphasized on this. Maybe I forgot. I think interviews best describe that experience more.
True.
You're like, oh, I forgot. But that's life.
Yeah, so it happens all the time. So that's what mentorship does. They let you know exactly what to expect. I've been here before. In fact, I've been here a couple of times, and this road is smooth. Please close your eyes and go to this road. Oh, this road is dark. Please ensure that you have your torch. Or this road is bumpy. Ensure that you have the spare tire in case your tire breaks. So they let you know exactly what to expect, and it makes life easy for you, right? If your mentor, if it took your mentor 5 years to become a superstar, it should take you a year plus or 2 years, because you've learned the hacks, right? And so that's it. If your mentor had a 2-1, you should have a first class because you've learned the hacks, right? So that's what mentorship is key. That's why it's key, rather. Well, under mentorship, I'd just like to talk about sponsorship before I round up with the last one. Sponsorship is, so when I talk about sponsorship, a lot of people think sponsorship is people who give you money or companies who donate to you. For me, under mentorship, sponsorship is vital. Sponsorship for me is the fact. So I always tell people, when your matter will be discussed, you won't be there. When your proposals will be reviewed, you won't be there.
will be reviewed. No, I think Jimmy Tewell said it in a way that made a lot of sense.
Okay.
He said, said you must have somebody that calls your name for good in the boardroom.
Exactly.
So because the truth is, those people, the decision makers, most of them don't know you.
Exactly.
But you must have somebody that knows you, that can speak up for you. And I think that day I was listening to him speak. It was on Instagram Live, and he was talking about how they were in a board meeting and they were discussing who to promote. And there was this guy that seems like all the boxes seems to be check for him. And then there was a management staff, somebody on the board, and was like, hey, what about this guy? Have you ever thought about this guy? That is how they shifted this other person's paper and brought this person's file. This person, if you look at his boxes, seems to be empty, but because there was somebody that was speaking and emphasizing on his good part, that guy got promoted. And I was talking about the importance of you cannot just say, you must have that person that speaks for you in the boardroom. So who is your person?
Very important.
So please continue.
You're fantastic. I think you even stole the words from my mouth. It's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Like, you must have someone in the boardroom, because, like I said, when your matter will be discussed, you will not be there. When your proposal will be reviewed, when your application will be reviewed, when it will come down to only two people. They want one, and they've streamlined all the applications to two people, and luckily you also want one of the two. What will happen, right? And so just this happened happened a few days ago. I helped someone, get through an interview for an opportunity. And so she talked about her mentors and her sponsors. And coincidentally, the one of the interviewers know one of the people she mentioned, right? And so at the end of the interview, what happened? They quickly rushed and spoke to the person. Oh, Dorcas, Ikenna spoke so much about you. Ikenna said you are his mentor and all that. He was just shortlisted for this opportunity. And Dorcas now said, yes, Ikenna is a fantastic young man. I think he deserves that position. So even before grading, you've already qualified, right? Because someone spoke for you, right? So that's why I think that I also tell this down to stakeholder mapping. That's why if you want to apply for a job in Nigerian breweries, for instance, find someone who works there. Follow them on social media. Make them your friends. After a while, then tell them about your application and all that. You might be shocked. He might even be in the person's office to approve or disapprove. You might be shocked. He works in HR, right? So always be intentional around stakeholder mapping. That's why I stayed on stakeholder mapping a lot. So when you think about what you need to achieve, find people who are there, who are the major key players, and make them your mentors, make them your friends. Because you know that in the next 2-3 years, your documents will come on their table. You need them to have that relationship with you to say, yes, I know this guy, and I think he should go for this. And so it's quite interesting to see that if you are in boardrooms yourself, it's quite interesting to see that when people argue about candidates, when people say, you know what, I can vote. Have someone ever said for you, I can vote for Dory, I can vote for Dorcas, rather. I can vote for her, please give her this thing. If you've not had people who can vote for you like that, you've not started actually. You need to have people who can say, I trust this guy, I think he's worth this position, or he's worth this opportunity, please give it to him on my name. It means that there's stake. One thing my mentor taught me one day, he said, I made this course for you and you think it's easy. You know that if you go there and mess up, the people will not call you, they'll call me.
Yes,
you know that whatever I want to do with them tomorrow might be hindered because of that. She said to me that I am staking my integrity on the line for you. Whenever I give you a connect, I'm taking my brand, my name on the line. If you mess up, it is me that messed up before them. And though that door might never open for me again. So don't think because I built this relationship and you think it's easy to pick up my phone and call the Dorcas because we went to MW together. I'm sending one of my messages to you. Do you think it's that easy? So that's what sponsorship does. This is taking their integrity on the line for you. And it takes more than just a hi or hello to get that kind of sponsor. So you need to deliberately, intentionally, consciously build sponsors in the spaces where you want to play in life. Important. If you play in the NGO space, find the leaders of the industry and make them your friends so that you may not tell them anywhere they talk about me, please, say good things of me. No, most times, just like last week, I was in my house working, right? And one of my senior friends, which also doubles to be a mentor, said, you know what, I got something. And I said, I don't know him. I think he can do it well. And I said,
We are losing you. Oh. Okay, we lost Ikena there. So this is 10 life lessons with D, and our guest is Ikena. He has been sharing a lot with us. Will we have him back on? We'll have him back on. I know maybe just network issues, they will be back on. So let me just run through what Ikena has been sharing since the start of this conversation. Number one, it talks about purpose. Number two, it talks about goals. For goals, it emphasizes the importance of setting smarter goals. There's a lot out there about smart goals. The Ikena is adding the ER. So E is for evaluate and R is for reward. So three talks about strategy, the importance of knowing the how. Yes, you have the goals, you must know the how. Number four, focus and precision. Knowing what you want. Knowing what you want helps you to narrow down the focus. Then number five, the one I love so much, stakeholders mapping. It is important. Who do you need? How do you assess them? What do you need to get to them? So you need to be intentional about your stakeholders mapping. That's number five. Let's go to number six, network, the power of network. So it is very important to be able to network and connect, building valuable networks. It is very, very important. Number seven, we talked about partnership and collaboration. Yes, and he shared one of his knowledge findings with us. He said he read a book that talked about it is not enough to identify an idea. After identifying an idea, it's important to go find a co-founder, like go get a partner. Like together, there is so much you can achieve with a partner involved. And I love the way he talked about the sole proprietorship, where we say, oh, sole proprietorship, the gain is for you, the loss is also for you. And sometimes the loss can be very overwhelming. But with partnership, you have that person. And on that beautiful thing, I think partnership does for us, we're able to complement each other's skills. We're able to complement each other's strengths. I think partnership and collaboration is very, very, very important. And Ikena is actually encouraging us to leverage partnership and collaboration in 2023. Like he's also sharing his own life experiences as regards partnership and collaboration. So it talks about number eight, we're talking about personal development, the need to continue to learn, the need to continue to improve. There is always improvement, like we are always going, like growth is constant. You cannot be stagnated in terms of knowledge finding. You cannot say you know it all. You don't know it all. Truly, there is nobody on earth that actually knows it all, except you are Google. Even Google needs updating, like Google needs to be updated. There are some things that change, some facts. So Google also needs updating. So you need to continue and constantly be open to learning. Expose your mind, be open to learning. Let's see. So be very, very open to learning. I was talking about number nine, mentorship and sponsors. How wow. Like this one, I never saw it this way, but the way Ikena actually dealt with this particular lesson nine, mentorship and sponsorship, the importance of mentorship. You stop struggling alone. You cannot do life alone. Leverage on the experiences of others. Leverage on on relationship, people that have gone ahead of you. It is very, very, very important. Like we cannot overemphasize the importance of mentorship and also sponsorship. Like I don't used to see it as sponsorship, but today I just opened my mind to that one.
So sorry, network.
No problem. No problem. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We are good. It's good to have you back. So you actually talking about your friend that doubles as your mentor. We are still talking about sponsorship and mentorship.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just to conclude on that. It's quite important that you have people who speak for you. Very vital. Like I said, the areas where you need support, you might not be there. When your matter will be tapped, like I said, in a nutshell, you might not be there. So having people who can trust you enough to vouch for you, to stake their integrity, to stake their brand on the line, to say you deserve this. They are rare, and you need to find them. And when you find them, hold them well, because it's also rare to find. Now, this is a high level of mentorship. Mentorship is me teaching you what I know, leading you. But people who can speak for you, vouch for you, stand in for you are quite rare to find. But you need to deliberately find them. And like I said earlier, find them in areas you want to play. If you want to play in the CSO space, you want to play in the banking sector, you want to play, and just find those people that can speak for you. You probably want to be, you admire Tony Elimila, you want to be a bank executive someday. You know the truth is that one day, when there's an opportunity for a new bank MD to be employed, and there are 5 people who are qualified, the board will go into a meeting to select, right? You have board members who will nominate you. Do you have board members who will stand in for you? Yeah. It's important, that you might be very good, but you may not have people who, when your matter will be tabled, who will say, you know what, I think this guy deserves it. Very important. And for me, the last point is, I don't know how this. I really don't want this to sound quite spiritual, right? But I think knowing your God, is, knowing your God is. All right, knowing your God is one strong life lesson, and this encapsulates every other thing I can say I have said, and everything that I really did not even say. I think knowing your God is vital, and whether you worship God in heaven or you worship whatever you want to worship, right? It's you have freedom of religion, but know who your God is and stick to Him, right? It's good to have this. I always tell people some things that happen in life are not natural, right? They have spiritual connotations, right? So it's good to know, to have a spiritual backing to whatever you do. Pray if you're a Christian, pray if you're Muslim, pray if your religion, supports you to pray, give if your religion supports you to give, follow the dictates of your religion. It's important that you have this backing, it brings this assurance to you, it brings this hope to you. For me as a Christian, I know that there are times I've prayed and God says to me, go this path, right? I am here. And I go that path and things begin to turn out well. And I'm like, wow, like I really didn't know this exists. One day I was in a cell fellowship and my leader said something that struck me. I will never forget that meeting. Probably 12 years ago, thereabout. She said, so what we are praying about financial success. She says, so this is not a hack for you not to work hard, for you not to have a product or a business you are selling. So when we are praying about financial success, she said, God knows where the money is. So when she said that, I kept quiet. And she said this again, God knows where the money is. Tell him to tell you where the money is. For me, that struck a chord. I'm like, you know what? That's truth. He knows where the money is. So if you're looking for money, he knows the person to call. He knows the business to do. He knows the product. He'll tell you, okay, you know what? Right now is ChatGPT. That's the trending business. Right? The trend app right now. He knows exactly what things to do. He probably might let you know what? Right now, get this product. Do this. Do X, Y, Z. So it's important you have this spiritual back into what you do. He makes the struggle easier. He makes the prayers. Yeah. He makes your hopes, come alive faster. It's important, right, that you know exactly what to do. I tell people about business forecast. That's also what spirituality also helps you get. You're able to forecast, okay, in the next 2 years, we'll be wearing, after a while, we started wearing the Tietia jean, the rib jeans, right? It's just started trending. Most times, whatever we're doing right now, in the next 3 years, there might be something new, right? And I was having a conversation with someone, and I said to him, you know what? If you look at the biggest churches in Nigeria right now, most of them are first generation pastors, first generation churches. They're the ones who started these churches, and these churches are global now. I told him, do not think that in the next 20 years, you won't have new first generation churches. Power will always change hands, right? So I know that there are a couple of churches who have been here for decades, but there are a couple of churches who have been here for 10 years and 20 years. And just take, for instance, Pastor Jerry, the guy who does the NSPPD. Take, for instance, from COVID year to now, see how far he has gone, right? Truth is, as well, take all the billionaires that also are existing right now. Many of them are first generation wealth, right? It means also in the next 20 years, there will be new billionaires on board. And it means there will be new skills, new businesses. So it's for you to think about and pray and ask, your maker, what are the business ventures I need to get involved in right now that will make me the bigger guy in the next 10 years? It's important that you also connect with divinity. It brings you hope. It brings you assurance. It brings you peace. It brings you faith. It makes you know that, no matter what's happening right now, it even saves your mental health, right? Because if you know your God and he says to you, you know what, keep walking, I'm working something in you, you won't get stressed because you know that something told you, you know what, it will happen soon. You won't be sad. Have you ever been happy and you're wondering, why am I happy? You don't have money in your account. You don't have nothing. We're just excited about life.
Have this source of joy.
Exactly. There's this joy. That's knowing who your God is, knowing your maker. He gives you such peace, especially when he's working something in you. So it's always important to connect with your Father, to connect with your maker, to connect with God in heaven, and stay on board. Everything he has asked us to do, and keep being hopeful. Keep being hopeful that the best will come. Hope is for me, I think hope is a very strong factor. Just keep being hopeful. So if you're working, keep working hard. I remember when I had a challenge, that almost tore me apart. I wouldn't have time to share the story. I lost everything. That's why I talked about partnership. I got into a partnership that I invested my life. I invested my all inside it, and I didn't know that my partner was not a nice guy. And so he changed some documents, did some things, and I lost everything at once. And in fact, I even had loans I borrowed to inject in this business, and everything collapsed. I now had loans to pay without even having a thriving business. So I was stressed, and I spoke to my mentor one day. After I complained, you know what she told me? She just said, Ikena. I said, man, she said, keep walking in the name of Jesus. And she dropped the call. And that changed my life. When I sleep, I kept hearing her voice, keep walking in the name of Jesus. Keep walking. And I asked myself, keep walking what? I don't have to walk. Keep walking. Right? In the space of
keep walking.
In the space of in the space of 3 months, what took me 3 years to build, in the space of 2 months, 3 months, I rebuilt everything again. Like I started from ground zero and I built everything again because I got this assurance that you know what, God is with me. And even though these setbacks are happening right now, it should not define my life. Right? And I should keep on moving, keep on working, and keep on doing the best I can part-time without having anything against anybody. And so it worked for me. Knowing your God is quite key. So for me, that's my 10th life lesson. It always pays to know your God. It always pays to serve God. It always pays. Thank you.
Well, Ikena, this is really, 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 really explosive. Like, this is really loaded. Like I say, for me, I'm the first partaker of this experience, and I've learned a lot. I've learned really, really a lot. Like, you've opened my eyes to see some things. You've given me name tags. Like, some things you don't even have a name for it, but now I think I have names to describe it better. So we just I will not, like, you really explained it, so I will not dwell too much on some lessons. I will just push, but I just think maybe there are some we just need to emphasize more on, then we could stretch a little on it, then we could just talk about it. So let's go back, because I think that is the key. Let's go back to your lesson number one when you talked about purpose. And I remember when we were talking about sometimes even people as a young person growing up, you're also trying to just the quest that you're looking for knowledge, you're trying to discover who you are. And then you get engaged with a lot of people. Even the people sometimes are confusing. They confuse you the more. I think you mentioned that when we're talking about what do you want to do? Which are you going to science or you're going to art class? All of those things. So now my question for you is, for a young person that is torn between different kind of advice, because a lot of people are talking, people are giving you their own opinions. A lot is actually going on, and this person is torn between a lot of opinions, and this person is actually seeking the place for self-discovery. So what do you have for that person? What will you say to that person on that part of discovering their purpose?
Okay, so this is a very tough question, and I get this question because I work a lot with I work with a lot of young people, and I get this question all the time.
Yeah.
And till now, I've not even hacked what the best answer for this question is, because it's quite a tough question. Because you know what, whatever you tell someone might form the person's life. But basically, for me, I think that the best response to this is self. Okay, let me make it easier. I think you need to sit yourself down and talk to yourself. Most times when we are in this situation, we're overwhelmed. We thought these thoughts just keep hitting our minds. I remember when I was, at that level, my mom wanted me to do medicine, my dad wanted me to do engineering, and I was torn in between these two options. One day I asked myself, Ikenna, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Right? I saw that the only two options I had on my table was what my mom wanted and what my dad wanted. And in the table, there was never what I wanted. So I started asking myself, what do you even want? So it's a starting point. You might discover that you really don't know what you want, but asking yourself, what do you really want, is a starting point. Now, you need to listen to your, speakers will always talk about passion. Most times, more often than not, it works, but sometimes it really does not work. But you also need to listen to your passion. What are things you're passionate about? What are the things that you can do without fee, right? So when my dad talked me out of medicine, one question he asked me, do you like seeing blood? Can you, if my hair breaks now, can you stand it? I'm like, nah, And he said, you're not supposed to do medicine. That was all. That was all he did to buy me out of the medicine. And I realized now that, you know what, he was right. So you need to listen to your own language. What are the things that you like? What are the things that you don't like? Some people like saving lives. Some people, if they see, I asked the doctor friend of mine, you guys are so used to seeing dead bodies that when someone dies, you will just say, sorry, we lost him, and you move. You don't even cry. How? So you need to.
How do you do that?
Exactly. How do you do that? So you need to listen to your inner self and find out what are the things that you are inclined towards. If you don't listen to yourself well enough, you won't find that out. It's important to listen to give yourself time and think about what are the things that you are inclined towards. From that, you can get pointers. You can get pointers to exactly what you. In fact, I got a pointer years ago that I was supposed to do international relations. Then I didn't know what NGO meant. Then I didn't know what United Nations meant. I just knew that I liked the world. I like to watch CNN and BBC. I like to listen to global affairs. And then I wanted to travel around the world. There are things I really needed to do. And I asked someone, he says it's history. In some schools, they call it history and international relations. In some schools, they call it international diplomacy. And I liked it. But I could not tell my parents I wanted to do international relations. It wasn't part of the plan. And then people said, the people I spoke, they're saying, okay, where do they even work? What's international relations? Where do they work? Fast forward right now, I'm applying to do a master's in international development because I've now seen exactly where I can. Because now right now it fits my path, right? But imagine I did that course years ago. So it was from me having this deep thoughts and reflection over myself that I discovered that I like talking about global issues. I like a lot about politics. I like governance from a young age, right? These are things I liked, and I didn't know I could play in that space until I started asking myself these questions. But I didn't take that step then, but I'm taking that step many years after, but I'm still taking the step. So this comes with, deep introspection. So against the backdrop of everybody is trying to do an MBA. I'm not trying to do an MBA. I'm trying to do international development. I'm trying to do public policy, because these are the areas I want to delve into in the part of my life. So that's basically. So think about these things, have a deep reflection, sit yourself down and ask, then majorly majorly back to the spirit, to the spiritual. Majorly pray to your God and ask him for direction. Most times it's easier like that.
Like, that's to add to that, like, the truth is there's this common saying that is the creator who knows the product better than the creator itself. The person that invented the product knows the product better than any other person. So, still on purpose question. So, how were you, you were turning between wanting to study medicine and wanting to study engineering. So let me ask you a question. What did you end up studying?
Yeah, I get so that question comes up. But before I answer that question, you know, the last statement you made actually reminded me of something. So one day I went to I'm a learner. That's one of, you know, we did this what's it called again in the US, personality test. Yeah. So I got a learner is my first. so one day I went to I went to a child dedication, and the pastor was praying. So he carried this baby up and he started praying. He said, you know, thank you, Father, for the gift of this baby. He said, you identified a problem on earth and you sent this baby with a solution to this problem. I said to myself, what did I just hear? Then, whether it's the truth or not, I don't know. But then I believed in total, if that expression is correct, that for every child who is born, God sees a challenge on earth and puts the solution in that baby and says, you know what, go into the world and solve this problem. Right? And so it's your duty to talk to him and ask him, what am I here for?
Yeah.
So for me, I ended up studying economics because because
I now understand. Now that you don't say that, and like my brain is connecting places.
There's no connection right now. Yeah, I understand because I was turning between these two things, and I'm like, nah, the both of them are not things I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to be an engineer. I'm not supposed to be a doctor. I knew I was supposed to do arts. Guess what? I went back to write WAEC. To write arts and WAEC, because I discovered that this. So I said myself, you know what? I better start correcting this now, right? So that's why I said, if you are supposed to do something, you will know. So when I wanted to do international relations, I did not get there. So what happened was, I'm trying to put the story together right now. What happened was that with my sciences, I could do economics because it was a social science. But for international relations and diplomacy, I needed government, which was a score for what they were doing. So I could not wait for the work I wrote to come out. I said, you know what, let me start doing this one first. So when the thing came out, I'm like, nah, these schools, all of them are seminalists. Economics is a social science course. It means that it fits into almost every space, you know, and all that. I'm like, okay, let me do this one and just get it done. That's how I actually finished economics. So I just had to make the decision.
This will take me to my next question, because I think you're going to be answering a question for someone. So your mom wanted you to study medicine and your dad wanted you to study engineering, and you self-discovered yourself that you were drawn to international relations, you're drawn to the social science field. How did you manage the expectations of your parents? Because that is a serious problem. So what are you going to say to a young person listening to you right now? How best do you manage the expectation of people when there is so much pressure and expectation from you? How did you do that?
You know that when you want to do something your parents don't want to, you have to pay a price. And that's the truth. You know, and so you need to be ready to take the bull by the horn and pay the price. It will always come with a price. So I advise a lot of young people to talk to your parents, right? Find the times when they're happy, engage them in conversations, let them know what you want to do, let them know why you want to do this. Maybe they're not even, maybe your parents might be learned or rich, but maybe they're not exposed in these new developments. Imagine 5 years ago telling your father that you want to go to a hub and learn technology, that you don't want to go and work. He will think you are crazy. But right now, technology is the biggest thing globally. Imagine telling your father that you have a passion for football, that you want to go and play ball, you don't want to go and work. He will think you're mad. And it's not his fault. In his mind, he wants the best for you. And he's treating you with the best of his knowledge, which is not comprehensive, which is not holistic. You know, he's talking to you from an uninformed position. Your duty, which I tell every person, is to get them informed. Find the perfect time, or let me not say perfect. People say there are no perfect time. So find they agree, or find a good time and have a conversation with them, right? Sometimes even start with a story. Maybe say play a movie, right? Maybe you have a movie of Messi. You know, he said he was having food in a restaurant.
Pele.
All those people.
Pele's movie with
Exactly. So sometimes tell them, you know what, Daddy, let's see a movie together. And he comes to the sitting room and you play this movie. You are indirectly infusing your thoughts in his mind. And when the movie is over, he already he already says in his mind, he may not tell you, but in his mind, nah, this boy they pay, right? Then you now guys are saying, you know what, Dad, I have this opportunity. Someone told me that he can help me get access to this thing. You've infused your thoughts in him without even him knowing. And he's better ready to listen to you more then, right? So find it also boils us down to strategy. When you identify your purpose, you have your goals, strategize. How do I make this happen? So if your strategy is to talk to your father, please very well do that. If your strategy is to talk to your mother, if your strategy is to talk to your uncle who knows about what you want to study, so that he can come talk to your father, please do that. If you know someone who your parents listen to and who can influence them to agree with what you want, please do that. So whatever you think will be the best strategy for you to go about it, please do. But it's very important to always be on the same page with them, even though they don't fully accept it. Because my mom wanted to answer, the mother of a medical doctor, right? So even if they don't fully accept it, but they can understand exactly what you're saying, and they're like, you know what, since that's what you want, no problem. Let them say that at least. It's important, and you need to find out ways to make them say that.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for that. That answers the question perfectly well. So let me jump to goals because we are in January. There's a lot of goal setting going on. I know you did justice to that, but I just want us to simplify the process because sometimes we have a lot of people that set goals, and by July, like, so this no go thing is not for me. Let's just keep it aside. And by December, we are back to the drawing board. I'm like, oh my God, I planned this, I did this, and it didn't work. So I wanted to simplify the concept of goal setting, like make it very simple. I know you mentioned the importance of long-term goals, short-term goals, and milestones. I want to make it simple that anybody that listens to you be like, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is how I should go. Show us the how.
Okay. In a very simplified form, goal setting is simple. Probably the grammar is plenty, but goal setting is simple. Write what you want to achieve in life, and make it simple for you to understand. The reason for goal setting is that goal setting is like your guidebook that you go back to from now and then to see what you said you would do and how well you are doing it. If you write your goals down, it will help you stay on track, stay on the line, because most times you really might not remember what you're meant to do. So that's why goal setting is important. The Bible says, I'm talking about the Bible again, it says, write the vision, make it plain, so that he who sees it will come with it. So it's important your vision is plain, so that even if your sister comes up, takes your goal book, she understands exactly where you're going to. That's number one. Number two, the reason why it's good to make it simple is that so that you can actually achieve these goals. So when you have a 1-year goal, break it down into months. It simplifies the process. It makes it less ambiguous and less hard, right?
Yeah.
My pastor taught me that in school. He said, if you have a financial target, you will want to raise 1 million naira. 1 million naira might look so big, right? But break it down into 10 100,000s or 20 50,000s, right? Write the name of 20 people that can give you 100,000. Call them on the phone and tell them what you want to do. At the end of the day, you might have the 10. You might even have 12. You've exceeded your targets. That's when people say, I've exceeded my targets. Because you need to plan, above that, right? So when you have these annual goals, your plan for the year is to raise 1 million naira. Let me take that as instance. It means that at the end of the month, of every month, you have a plan to raise at least 90,000 naira or thereabouts, right? And so now this 1-year goal has now been simplified to a 1-month goal, right? And so now you start working towards what are the things you're going to do to achieve an income or a savings of 90,000 naira every month. That's what goal setting is. Goal setting is harder is harder than it looks or it sounds. Goal setting is very deep, right? It's not something you can even do in 1 week. It takes your energy because you need to find out the little details. And that's why when people set these goals, they're able to achieve these goals. So I think I'm even making it ambiguous myself right now because you haven't simplified the process. But I think it's just that way. Have this 1 year plan, break it down into month plans, so that the goals are simpler, and think about the strategy. Because when I do goal setting classes, I focus more on strategy. People focus more on writing the goals, and I focus more on strategy. So how are we going to achieve this goal? So write the goals down, break it down into shorter milestones, and develop a strategy to achieve that goal. And like I said, smarter goal framework every day, every month. Come and ask yourself, have I achieved 90,000 naira? If I did, what did I do to make me hit 90? If I did, some of them might not be your fault. Let me say, for instance, January is perceived as a tough month. People hoard money, right? So I have a goal to meet 90,000 naira every month. January, I saved 50,000 naira. What happened? A lot of people, they could not release money, number one. So you need to also find out what happened to you. You didn't come back from the village on time. You came back second week of January and you already lost 2 weeks or 1 week. It's, so you need to find out what are the things that made you lose that money. And the next month, what are things that you need to do? Now, it makes you understand, okay, my only challenge for January was that I lost 2 weeks. If I didn't lose 2 weeks, I would have hit my target. In January, I'm not losing any week, so I should hit my target. So in January, you hit your target of maybe you now hit 80,000 instead of 90. What happened? I was meant to hit 90. You now go back to the drawing board. Did you open on time at your office? Did you market more? I think I didn't market this more. I think I should invest more in marketing. So that makes you understand exactly what you are going to do. Oh, you know what? In March, I'm going to invest 10% of my income on my marketing. Let me see if it improves. In March, I raised 120,000. Oh wow, marketing worked for me. That means I really need to. So sometimes these are trial and error. That's the truth. But sometimes doing this, you discover what works best for you when you evaluate and what did not work for you, and you focus on those things that work best for you to achieve maximum results, and that's it.
Thank you very, very much. I just want to add this in the spirit of simplicity. Ikena is just using English for strategize. We talk Ikena simplify. You still using this English. When you set your goals, you break it down. Yes, let's go. Let's use activities. It was saying something. Those things evaluate. What did you do? So, what are those activities you need to do? Those things you need to do to be able to meet your target per week or per month. Those activities is very, very important. Exactly. And those activities you need to stop, that you need to kill, you need to stop doing. As you're also evaluating what to do, there are some things you need to stop doing. Exactly. And there are some things you need to continue doing. It is also very, very important to note that. Ikena is a businessman. We will still come because he's always using money to explain to us. We will still come back to it. I still have your about question. I'm still coming back to it.
I'm an evil man. I like money.
He's just using money to explain. I say yes. Okay, so let's go back to I think I'll just jump focus. I'll go to stakeholders mapping. Then I want to tie stakeholders mapping and networking together. When we were talking about how it was difficult for you initially, but you had to self-train yourself consciously. Yeah. Now there's somebody that is sitting and saying, "Hi, Ikenna, I'm very shy. I don't even know how this networking thing works. If I meet people, I don't even know what to say. How do I engage? How do I start off a conversation? Even if I go for all those conferences, all these meetings, I like to say no. Yeah. I don't like to. I like my space. So please tell us, how can we break out and build our network?"
So I'll teach you what my mentor taught me that helped me, not just about networking. It helped me everywhere. She calls it the SW factor. And for her, that SW factor is some will, some wounds, so what, who's next? Right?
Again. SW factor.
Yeah. Some will.
Some will.
Some wounds.
Okay.
So what?
Okay. So what?
Who's next? Yeah. So one of the challenges that we face is the fear of rejection. Humans abhor rejection. So you're wondering, if I walk up to Mr. A and he looks at me like this and walks away, I'll feel so bad. Or if I knock on this door and they don't open, if I submit 10 applications and I get 10 rejections, I feel more, they don't like me. Nah. She lets me know that some wounds. So what? Who's next? Right? The first thing you need to do is the fear of being rejected. It will increase your confidence, it will give you boldness, and it will make you be smart in your networking. Do not ever feel that you rejected. Even if you are, move on. Right? Have you ever seen speakers say, oh, probably you let me say, for instance, in a relationship, someone serves you breakfast, and instead of you to cry, you are like, the person lost. It's self-confidence. It's like, you know who you are. Like, you know that there's always, and you're like, nah, he lost. Oh no, she lost. In your mind, you don't even feel that you are doing the lost though. So if I walk up to you and you walk away, you lost your business. There are other people in this room I can talk to. And how many people do I need? Maybe one, maybe even two. So I'm saying this, with emphasis for you to understand that building self-confidence is key to networking. You need to have confidence. You need to have boldness. You need to have courage to take that step, knowing that it doesn't matter what they say. To an extent, it matters, but just tell yourself, it doesn't matter. That if they say no to me, I move on to the next person. That's number one. Number two, you need to think about what to say before you go there. Because most times it happens to me. You get into a conversation with someone, in fact, your boldness, you've become your own motivational speaker. You've inspired yourself, oh yeah, go, just go. And you start walking. And when you get there, bam, your brain is vacant. You don't know the first thing to say. So always have something to say. So I'll say this as a joke. It will sound very funny. So I think when I was in school, I used to like one girl. Because I was a very shy and reserved person, I didn't know how to talk to this girl. So one of my friends, I told him, I like this girl. What do I do? He said, Ikena, go there. In there you see her, you will talk. You see this thing you're doing, your mouth to open. And I listened to the advice, my sister. I dressed up that day now, walked up to this girl in school. And I was there. And she was looking at me and I was looking at her. I didn't know what to say. And I said, how are you? She said, fine. You know how when you walk up to someone, the person is expecting you to actually talk. Like, okay.
Yes.
So when she said fine,
what do you want?
And he told me from her response, I don't know the next thing to say. So she said fine. I don't know what the next thing to say is now. Should I say, are you fine? Or how fine are you? so I said that day, and I remember there was a class. There was noise from their department. And I remember, I said, hey, sorry, there was this noise I was hearing from the department. What was happening? She said, people were fighting. And she kept quiet. And I didn't know if I should ask her who was fighting. The next thing that came out from my mind, I just wanted to say hi. And I left. So I said that to say that most times it's very, if you have this fight speaking with people, it's important to think about the lines. What I think you're going to say. You've looked at them. They have a nice tie. It's also good to start with compliment. They have a nice shoe. Are you going to start with that as introductory? Right? For me, most times, my surname is quite long and funny. Right? So my surname is Obudimpa. And I've seen that will always be a conversation starter. Because I also tell people, always look for conversation starters. So when I go to someone's office and say, hello, my name is Ikenna, but they're like, So they say, So in Igbo, Ogunigba means someone who kills giants, like David, but it's like giant killer.
Okay.
So they'll say, I hope you've not come to kill me, So they'll always comment on it. And when I understood that was a conversation starter, I made it strong. So when I must introduce my name in full. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Ikenna. Like they'll always. In fact, it has happened 99% of the time. So we'll laugh.
Wow.
And even when I had my MWF interview, it will shock you that the guy who interviewed me probably is Igbo, Similarly, he said, "Oh, you are Ikena. How many things have you killed?" So we laughed. So when that thing happens, what happens? It brings that friendship platform around. It doesn't now make me look small and you big, right? So now it's easy to now get into the conversation. So always find conversation starters before you actually get there. If it's admiring the person's outfit, if it's a speaker that said something, always think about what did this person say, right? And use that thing. Oh, hello, my name is Ikenna. You had a fantastic session. You talked about XYZ. I've never had this in this light. Always find a way to compliment the person and now get into a conversation. And always find out what you want to get out of this conversation, right? Do you want to just make friends? Do you want to make the person your mentor? Do you want to learn from the person? So think about this person I'm going to meet. What do I want out of it? It will guide your conversation. But like I said, first off, build your confidence level before you get there. Think about your line items. What items I'm going to say. Find the best conversation starters, right? That'll give you that nice environment to talk. Then think about exactly what you want to derive from that conversation. It will help you. So you say something, you guys laugh, you tell the person, oh, thank you very much, get into the conversation. Then, if possible, ask questions. There's something I learned with MWF. Ask questions. There's something we do a lot. We get into conversation with people and we start telling them about ourselves. It's boring. And it's the most boring thing we've ever done. You start saying, my name is Ikenna, I live in Aba, I run a foundation, we do youth empowerment, youth development. Boring. I'm telling you don't have the person's attention. Right? So most times,
be interested in the person.
Exactly. Be interested in the person as well. Get to find out what they do. So if, like I said, if the person spoke in the event, talk about what the person said that made it for you, like made the highest mark for you, and ask them how you said you are into this NGO thing and you've done it for 5 years. How has this journey been? 5 years. That's a long time. And they'll smile and they'll answer you. It means that you're interested in them. So when you talk about yourself, they'll also want to listen, right? This is a long talk already.
I think it is. Sorry.
No, it's cool. Like I'm just saying on this networking age, like it's been like I've said everything I can say around it right now.
Yes, like when you were talking, I just remembered. I will always talk about DDK because she's my mom, she's my mentor. So I remember DDK was talking about when she met a mentor and how when you are prepared, you read so much, you listen to the person's talk, like you have a lot of questions. Like when she was actually having that conversation with her mentor and she was pointing some things her mentor did at certain times, the mentor was really surprised, like you are this interested in me. You don't understand, like you are this interested in you. Yeah, come, let's talk. And I think, let me just say it here, and I think that was the same strategy my partner used on DDK. Because, when she had the opportunity to meet DDK, to finally talk to DDK, she was able to quote some things, some strategies DDK talked about, how we implement in what we do, how she has implemented in her personal life, and the results and some of the challenges. So it was more like, oh, you are not just following me, but you're also very interested in what I do.
Exactly.
I think networking is not really about you.
Exactly.
It's two people involved. And sometimes when we make it about us, then we lose the whole idea.
You lose the whole idea.
Of the networking.
You make it look selfish.
So when we're talking about so when you're talking about fear of rejection, it happens. The worst thing, just like what your mentor said. So what? Who is next? And I think the truth is, somebody saying no to you does not mean they don't like you or you are a bad person. It is really not about you. Even in selling products, it is not about you. Maybe they are not interested in that product or service at that time. There's also something dedicated to us. It's called the principle of the ask. You ask. Just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Just ask. What is the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Is a no or a yes? And life continues.
Exactly.
This takes me to my semi-final question. So when you were talking, I was just curious. How do you manage failures? Because failure is part of the process for me. So tell us show us your scars. So I know you had your tough moments with your partner, losing that business and rebuilding it again. And I love how you were able to connect it with your mentor. That he said, "Walk in Jesus," and that was so powerful. But there's some people actually dealing with failure, and they're actually at rock bottom. So I want to speak to those people. How do you manage failure, and how were you able to come out of that? Like, what happened to you mentally, physically, or emotionally? Just share so that we can learn from it.
Yeah, you know that this is a very profound question, because for me, it really brings me memories. You know, talking about networking too, and linking it to this question right now, because I have an answer that links both. I was once introduced to someone by my mentor, a billionaire businessman, and so appointment after appointment, we never have a meeting. So he would give me an appointment for 9 a.m. I'll come by 9 a.m. I'll sit in his office from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. And I only meet him when he's going home. He'll be like, "Oh, sorry, had a busy day. Come back tomorrow, 10 a.m." And I did this for 5 days, always coming every day, you know. And it was crazy. And so the day he met me, he told me, "You know what? You have 60 seconds, shoot." I'm like, so after all this,
After 7 days,
yeah, me
elevator
60 seconds, 1 minute. With that, I was really thrown off board. Like, what will I say in 60 seconds? My goodness sake, right? But guess what? I aced the deal. I got the deal. I got much more than I even planned, and my mentor was proud, right? So if you understand, you see that I've talked about mentorship for a long time, because I've seen how personally that has helped me in my growth, right? And so one day, after a while, I started. So this guy promised me some things, right, beyond what I went for. And so after a while, I started trying to connect with him. And if I call him, he won't pick. If I call him, he won't pick. If I call him, he won't pick. So one day, I spoke to my mentor. I'm like, you know what, this guy is not picking my calls anymore. And he said, you know what, don't worry, come to my office. I'll invite him as well. He won't know that you're coming. I'll make you two of you jam, right? And so when she now did that, I now walked to our office. They're like, ah. So the guy greeted me, and you know, we explained please and trace. You know what she told him? Please, Ikena said he has been calling you. You have not picking your calls. I know you don't pick calls, you don't save. Please save his number now. He said, no, don't rush. I'll pick. She said, no, save his number now. Save it now. I'm here. Save it now. You know, that's what mentors do. And so he saved the number. But guess what? I also ended up calling him later. He didn't pick. So one day I came back to my mentor and complained to her. You know what she told me? I am using this to talk about rejection now. She said to me,
yes,
you know what, Ike? I said, ma. She said, keep working. Grow your value. He'll come to you. And in my mind, I'm like, how this billionaire come to me? She said, keep working, grow your value. He will call you. And it didn't take 6 months. He called me on the phone.
Wow.
Yes, because he saw something I did and he was super impressed, and he called me on the phone and he said to me, I'd like to meet with you. So I said that I use this example of both networking and rejection to let you know that, you know what, people might reject you for one reason or the other. Maybe they are busy. Maybe they are having a not so good time. Maybe they're not even interested in what you're saying. Maybe they don't even know so much about what you're saying, right? You might think they didn't hear you. But one day someone will ask them, we're looking for a young lady who does real estate. You say, hey, there's this young lady I met in one conference that talked to me about real estate. Let me look for her number. She calls and you're shocked. But you didn't talk to me well when we met. But he remembers you, and he remembers exactly what you said. So when you stop seeing rejections and failures as you not being worthy, it will make you understand that, see, some things will naturally not work out, right? And I also use Jesus. I also use the scriptures, you know. And I said to people, even Jesus was rejected by his people, right? How much more you? So when you come to the realization that people will say no to you, it's sacrosanct, and it might be of no fault of yours, right? People will say no to you, and it's okay for them to say no to you. So what you need to do is to, you know, there's chin up, heads high, shoulders high. You know, chin up, heads high, shoulders high. Speak to yourself. If that, it's okay to, if that makes you lack confidence in yourself. Yeah, it's okay. You're not crazy, right? If it makes you have low self-esteem, is okay. What you need to do is just talk to yourself. Talk yourself out of it. Why I talk myself out of this is that I look at the things I've done well, and I say to myself, you know what? Of course, I'm in Mandela Washington film, right? And my friends will play.
Yeah.
So my friends. So I want to say this in Igbo, right? Because it's a popular song, you know, in Nigeria right now. And I do this. I tell my friends all the time. I'll tell them if there's situation, I'm like, it means, do you know who you are? There's, I think it's flavor that says and all that. So it means in English, do you know who you are? So I was there, tell myself, Mandela Washington fellow. Now for you. So you know, yeah. So it might look small, but for me, it's what I use to validate myself. So I look for those things that I've done that validate me. I'm like, sometimes I tell my friends. So a friend of mine told me something one they said, this US that you went to, that other people, are you the person that went to US? Everybody, people go to US. I told them, no. You've been to US a couple of times. I went to US on the invitation on the government of the United States of America.
Government.
It is not the same thing. And they laugh. I'm like, the US government invited me. You look for visa. I didn't look for visa. And so they'll laugh. But I say this to myself to validate the fact that, see, I'm doing something right. I've achieved something. And how you treat me or what you say to me does not depreciate who I am now. Maybe you're not in a good mood, like I said, maybe you're not interested. It doesn't make me less of myself. So when that thing happens to me, I pick up I pick myself up and I move. So if it's around networking, if it's around partnerships, if it's around failure, I use the same system. In fact, my friends call me shock absorber because I've mastered how to absorb shock. I can absorb her. I can absorb shock. No matter shock you serve me right now, I absorb shock. Right? I told my friend, this might look like a hack. It might not be a nice thing to say though. So I told my friend one day who, you know, in Nigeria now they call it serve breakfast. So his partner served him breakfast and he was so down and out. You know what? And I told him, do you want to get out of this situation? He said yes. I said to him, think about the things that she did to you that were wrong, that you didn't like. And he told me, I said to him, focus on them. Right? And he focused on them. And the next 3 hours, he came and told me, you know what? That guy does not even deserve me. See me now. See what I'm even. Hi, see me. I'd have left that relationship a long time ago. You know. So when he focused on the things that he was not supposed to focus on, he realized, you know what? This one is not even worthy of me at the end of the day. How come I took this all this while? You now come to the realization that, see, it's not your fault, right? That's what I do on the positive angle. I think about those things I'm good at. You know what? Do you know I'm a master strategist because I actually work a lot around strategy. And I told myself, do you know I work a lot around strategy? Because what he did was that because he brought in more of the money, right? He moved a lot of things, and he has more money than I did then. So he moved a lot of things to his favor. And I tell myself, you know what? I'm the brain behind this thing. It's your money, but it's my brain, right? And I tell myself, if I produce you this idea, if I brought you inside it, if you even believed in me to come in, it means I can do it with anybody, right? I dusted up my papers, my proposals, and I went back to pitching. And in 2 months, I got much more money than he actually gave me, and I started that process again. Because I told myself, you know what? I'm the brain behind this thing. It's my idea. I'm the strategist. All you have is just paper. You have money, paper money, and that's all you have. If I didn't tell myself this, then I wouldn't have actually come up to where I did to actually go out again. I would have felt depressed and down, right?
Yeah.
So that's why when someone years ago someone asked a question about, I think it was Bill Gates, the person asked the question, if you lose everything you have, what will you do? He said, give me my notepad, give me my pen, and give me my brain. I will produce everything again. That's what Bill Gates answered. Yes. Because it's me. See, I'm the one that produced it. I'll do it again. So if I try something and I fail, I just think, of course, I also need to think about the areas I didn't do well. Of course, you are not perfect, right? So I thought about the areas, and documentation-wise, I didn't do well. But if I had tightened my documents, it wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have been, the business wouldn't have moved out from my hands, right? So there are areas I didn't do well legally. The areas I didn't do well documentation-wise. The areas I didn't do well. So that's why I talked about evaluation. I evaluated and found, okay, these areas are my fault. If I did my due diligence, this wouldn't have happened. I woke up from my slumber, went again to fight, but I now did due diligence, and I sustained that business for over 3 years right now. So Wow. That's what I do. I just wake up, move, and tell myself, give myself the confidence I need to step out again.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ikena. If you are just joining, this is 10 Life Lessons with D and our guest is Ikena. Like, Ikena has been dishing out a lot of wisdom, and it has really, really been a life transforming experience for me personally. I've learned a lot, so I'll just do a quick drive through what we've discussed so far, and then I'm going to ask my final question. If you're watching and you like to ask Ikena questions, I will encourage you to drop your questions in the comment section, and we will take the questions. I don't know. I think I'm becoming a pro. Now, anytime I bring an MWFL, I just like keeping you people for luck. The same thing I did for Zion, I think it's happening again. The truth is, you people have people are dishing out so much wisdom, and I just feel we just need to drink. Let's draw as much as we can. And I guess people that are watching also agree with me. So 10 life lessons with Ikena. 1 is purpose, 2 is goals, 3 strategy, 4 focus and precision, 5 stakeholders mapping. Please, in case you're just joining, I will encourage you to go rewatch this conversation. You cannot miss this stakeholders mapping. If you miss everything, you cannot miss this one. This one is very deep, very, very deep. A lot of wisdom inside of this one. And 6, we talked about networking. 7, partnership and collaboration. 8, personal development. 9, mentorship and sponsorship. And 10, know your God. Like, it is very, very important that you know your God. What is your spirituality? What is the core of your truth? And I think when we're discussing about networking and also best way to network, it shares some nuggets, and I think I will just breeze through those nuggets. Don't be afraid of rejection. And it talks about some will, some wouldn't. So what? Who is next? I think that this wisdom from your mentor is not just for Ikena alone, it's all of us. Let's run with it. If you're going for a networking session, you're meeting somebody, just have it at the back of your mind that some will, some wouldn't. So what? What next? I think I got that.
Who's next? Yes.
Yes, who is next? Yes, who is next? So when you're talking about going for networking, you can also mention the importance of building self-confidence. You have to build what you want to say. Think about the lines, look for conversation starters. Always find ways. You might start with compliments. And what do you want to get out of it? I think these are his strategies. Is the master strategies. And he just gave us like networking strategies. So if you are going for networking, just make sure that these things, or you put it at the back of your mind, these are the things you focus on. Thank you so much, Ikena, for your time. It has really been a very, very insightful conversation with you this evening. So my final question. I know you are in Aba, and one of the things I love about you is how you promote Aba. I remember I saw one of your posts, and I think you wore this I think it was like a tracksuit or so, and you were like, it is made in Aba, and it is looking so beautiful. And I, for one, I have always believed that Aba is an industrial city. And I used to tell people, anything you think you're importing, if you go to Aba, you can still get it in quality. But what we need is, how can we patronize our own? How can we promote our own? And it is all about presentation and acceptance. So I just want to ask you this question. This is of your 10 life lessons. And this is my personal question to you. So what is the way? What do you think we can do to further promote acceptance, proper integration of our products into our main market? You can produce something about, you don't need to put made in China. You could confidently put made in about, people should buy. So what do you think we can do to move forward in promoting our locally made products?
Okay, thank you for the question. I just want to do something quickly before I answer the questions quickly. When you talked about stakeholder mapping, I started a hub about a tech hub, and I identified the leaders of the tech ecosystem, and I made all of them my friends. I also discovered that inviting them for events make the friendship to go faster. And of course I invited them for events, and we bonded. But one thing I did, I looked for the biggest guy in the space, right? And I went to him, and I don't know how I did that, but I knew I needed him to grow. I'm the newbie, he's the biggest guy. And even though economically they will say he's my competition, but I didn't see him as my competition. I saw him as this guy is light years ahead of me. And I went to become his friend because I know that he's a stakeholder. You can't talk about technology in the southeastern part of Nigeria, you don't call his name, not even just in Abia. So what happens? When I discovered he was my stakeholder, I went so close to him. In fact, sometimes when he has events in his hub, I volunteer. I own my own hub, but I volunteer, for his events. When they make posts on social media, I share. One day his staff told him, you know that Ikena is our biggest fan on social media. And he called me and said, see what my staff said.
Wow.
That broke a lot of barriers. So what happens when he has proposals that he cannot do alone, or that requires what's the word again? That requires a cluster to do, or that requires partnerships. Okay. Guess what? I'm the first person he remembers. When he has projects that he's bigger than, that is more money, and he thinks he can't do that because his brand is big, what happens? Who does he remember? I'm the first guy he remembers. So most of the things that we did in the hub, we are feeders from his own hub. That's how we grew. Right. Wow. So that's why I talk about stakeholder. It might be the same, maybe this person in the same field where you are in. Don't see the person as stop fighting. No. Sometimes you can, there's something the Bible says that the crumbs from someone's table that people pick it up. Those crumbs might even be your prayer points. And those crumbs might even give you access to the main table. So most times get the crumbs, get the resources you need.
Access to the main bread.
To the main bread, my dear. So get the crumbs, get the resources, because most times our challenge is we don't even have the money to work for our future. So most times get those little proposals, get those little projects, get the little money you need to brand yourself well, and come to the table and now share in the bigger bread and in the bigger lot. So that was what I did, and as God would have it, I'm not a big player in this space because I actually followed someone who I marked as a stakeholder and who got me access to the table. In fact, some meetings that he goes for that he's not supposed to invite anybody, he invites me. And then when I go for this meeting, I also pitch my own brand. You get, so that's how this has happened. So you just have to do that. So sorry to bring out that idea. Just came from
no. Thank you so much for sharing. No, we needed to hear that. Like when you were talking, there was just this thing that dropped in my heart. Life is not about competition. You are not competing with anybody. We need to uproot the whole concept of competition from our head. If you're actually looking at him as your competitor, I don't think you will have gone close to him. Because it is not about competition, it is about complementing. If you are competing with him, you will not reshare their posts. You will not even like their posts. Exactly. You will be beefing them. So I think everything boils down to wisdom and strategy.
Strategy, my dear. Wisdom is very profitable to direct, And right now I'm in Abuja. And because after our fellowship, I think I came in November, so I'm like, okay, I think it's time to scale up my work and scale up my organization and all that. So when I came to Abuja, there's a friend of mine, like my friend, who also runs an organization. But because he has been here for a couple of years, he is more advanced, right? In running. That my challenge with Nigeria is that if you're in Lagos or Abuja, you are running a national organization. If you're in any other state, you are running a local, a community-based organization. That's a concern for another day, right? So because he has been here for a while, and he's been doing stuff, what did I do? I came here and I came to volunteer for his organization. And people are like, wow, this guy's a friend. You're a big boy. And I'm like, nah, guess what? He's also a fellow, right? And I'm volunteering for him. But guess what? If he goes for meetings, I go along with him. And because he feels indebted to an extent, he doesn't introduce me as his staff. He also introduces, this is my colleague. He also runs his own stuff. So I now have the opportunity to also talk about the things I do, right? And so having that experience with him also gives me exposure, right? So there are some rooms that we enter. I talk about me. There's some rooms that we enter. I talk about just him. There are some rooms we enter, and he needs, like I said about the tech guy, he needs a partner. He brings me in. In fact, there are programs he does just to have a presence here. I will tell him, just put my logo. Let's be that we are in Abuja. We are doing stuff in Abuja, and it won't cost me anything to put my logo. But if I didn't have that relationship with him, he won't. So through that volunteerism, I'm also getting access to the Abuja community, the Abuja space, the Abuja market, contacts that I never knew I could meet by meeting them through him. So I also have to bring that up. It's important. I'm doing that like right as I speak to you now. That's what I'm doing now, and it's giving me access even as we speak. So it's important that we employ that.
Wow.
Then for your answer, because I've talked too much already. For your answer, so I don't talk more than I should.
No, you're talking wisdom. You can continue.
I was in a program some years ago. I did a program. There's this annual program we do, International Youth Day, every 12th of August. You know, it's a UN event. So I organize it annually in Aba, and so I bring in a lot of people from outside Abia to talk to young people in Abia and all that. So I think in 2017 we hosted Professor Pat Utomi, and he said something. It was in his red carpet conversation. He said something. He said, this question you asked to someone asked him the same question, and he said the problem with Abba is branding. He said we need a lot of branding. Yeah, we need a lot of branding to sell our brands. We're not even proud of our brands, so we name them Gucci and Louis Vuitton, even when they are not Gucci and Louis Vuitton. So Abba was synonymous with fake. The same way China years ago was synonymous with fake, if you can remember, because China didn't have a brand.
Yes.
China was in mass production. They were producing for everybody, and they were producing low quality, and they didn't have a brand. So if what you call Chinese is fake, this China phone, this China laptop. But now remember that nobody calls China fake again. In fact, if it's from China, that means it even might be more original than other countries, right? Because of branding, they invested in their branding. That's something he's talked about Abba. We need to brand Abba. We need to brand Abba product so that when people see, hear, feel Abba, they don't feel fake, inferior. They feel quality in Abba, right? That changed the narrative for me. And I started a project called Abba Rebranding Campaign. I didn't take that up so well, but that campaign stemmed up from that event. I'm like, yeah, I think we need to brand Abba. So I couldn't do it as a campaign, but I started doing it as an individual. When I go anywhere, I tell you that I'm Abba boy. I don't care what stereotype you have about Abians. I know who I am, right? And I tell you, I even wear the t-shirt, I brand myself Abba. Like, you know for sure. Even if you've not spoken to me before and you've seen me anywhere, you know that this guy is an Abba boy.
Yeah.
Because I believe in branding. So people always say, well, you don't do like Abba boy. I ask them, how do Abba boys do? You don't even know how Abba boys, but you just have this narrative that Abba is a local place. So when you see me and I tell you that I'm from Abba, it makes you understand, it be like say people will get head. They that about, right? It gradually starts shifting your narrative about how Abba is, about how Abba people are. You get the point, right? So I think branding is key. And so ever since then, Abba people started, with the help of the state government as well, to an extent, Abba people started branding their own, having their own brand. There's a global Made in Abia or Made in Abba campaign. Of course, you would have seen it somehow. It's a global thing right now. So Abba people started branding. So what we did was the state government started organizing projects and programs to let them know, please put your label, don't put Gucci, and use the best quality. So I think it was the military that first came and said, okay, we are giving you guys, I think 500,000 military boots or so. Produce these military boots for us. Abba produced the boots, and military said these boots are standard, right? So the people started seeing, the benefits of even sourcing for these things locally, and how it's even cheaper for them than importing these things from abroad. So that's how the market in Abba actually exploded, and Abba started even exporting clothes. Now, Abba clothes, the best sellers in Nigeria are in Abba. You can take it to the bank. That's true. The best sellers in Nigeria are in Abba. The best, in fact, people come from Lagos. You will not believe this, to Abba to buy fabric. The biggest importers of fabric are in Abba. Yes. People fly from Lagos to Abba to buy fabric.
You. No, like I believe you, because there was I have this mutual friend that is into fashion. I remember they wanted to produce a particular line of wear, and one of the partners, one of the person has to go to Abba.
Exactly.
Like when they bring the production, the suit and everything, you will not believe it is from Abba.
Exactly.
And you have like it is Abba produced it. I was like, so for me then I remember the baseline of the conversation was, if they can do this, they can produce this thing this good. Why not just produce it this in this quality? Why lower the quality? And I'm like, oh, the truth is, if they produce this good, are we willing to put the money on it? Because sometimes you just with this whole idea of now, but why would I be paying this much for a product from Abba? And I think it is something that we all need to be intentional about working towards that. Yes, it is from Abba. It still has similar quality like the one you actually imported. Thank you so much for sharing with us about your passion and your rebranding of Abba. I am a fan.
Thank you.
Just know that you have one fan here. Yes, I love that. And I enjoy it. I'm like, yes, we need to, because like for me, I just know that Nigeria as a country has some of the world's smartest people. And some of those people actually in Abba. What they need is visibility and support to shine.
That's so thoughtful of you to say.
Yes, I need to say it. See, let's learn to start dropping petals on the floor. Let's drop flowers for ourselves if there is a need. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Abba is doing well. I remember I wanted to do a project one time, and my friend was like, "No, come to Abba. You will get this. You will get good quality because she's in Abba. She married somebody from Abba, so she's based in Abba." And she was like, "No, you will get this quality." And she was telling me about going to the market and the kind of quality she saw. So it is important. So let's promote our own.
So whenever you come to our bar,
okay,
you have a tour guide, you have a host, you have a partner, you have everything you need. Don't
no
worry.
Problem,
just choose a date and come.
She has been inviting
Please
me.
Come.
I think I need to.
We will host you well.
So
we'll make you proud of our bar.
Yes. No problem. Thank you so much. Ikena, thank you so much for your time. It has really been an eye-opener. It has been a very, very insightful conversation. And I, for one, I know some of those things I've learned, I'll put them to practice. And I know that we'll definitely bring you back, because I think apart from these 10 life lessons, there is this part of economy, business, we can come and draw from you, because you have this business side of you that I'm seeing today. I did not see it before. The last time we talked, I did not see it. But today I'm seeing this business side of you. I'm like, I did not see it. We need to come and learn from you that angle. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. God bless you. So do you have any final words for us before we go?
Yeah. Keep working. Just keep working. Keep working. It might seem it's not adding up right now, but in a very short time, it will add up. Keep working, keep doing your best. What you owe yourself and humanity is to do your part. Do your part and do it well. If you've ever been to that place when you do your part and you tell yourself, you know what, no problem, I did my best. If you've ever been told no and you told yourself, no, I did my best, you won't live in regrets. You won't live a life of regrets. You know that at this point I did my best, and always do your best and allow nature, God, humanity, whatever it is you believe in, to reward you. Of course, you will be rewarded. And I wish you success. I'm rooting for you. I know we'll meet. So all your applications this year, all your scholarship plans, all your money goals, all your goals for marriage, for relationship, for children, whatever your goals are for 2023, we join our faith with you, and I know that you will always succeed. And by the end of this year, we'll have a lot of testimonies. So thank you. Keep doing your best. Keep working.
Keep working. So Ikena is recalling the word of his mentor. Keep working. So this is where we draw the curtains this evening. Keep working. So chatting 10 life lessons with the continues on Saturday. And so have a wonderful evening and keep working. I will close with keep working. So bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.